everyone. I'm very glad to have this opportunity to talk about how Bruce shapes my research. But before that, I would like to let people know how I actually decided to go to Iowa in 2003. I still remember in March 2003, I was accepted by University of Iowa and the other university. And at the time, I didn't know which school I should go. So my colleagues in the hospital just told me that, oh, maybe we can take a look of the pictures of my advisors to be together, and then we can decide who I can work with better. So we compared Dr. Tomlin's picture and then the other professor's picture. Bruce, I know you know who I'm talking about, but please don't tell other people who that person was. So after my colleagues compared the pictures of Dr. Bruce Tomlin and then the other professor, we had a vote actually, and all of my colleagues voted for Dr. Tomlin. The reason that they voted for Dr. Tomlin was that Dr. Tomlin just looked like a very kind grandpa, and the other professor just looked like a very grumpy grandpa. So that's why I decided to go to Iowa in 2003.
Information about some of the research I'm doing. I've got a spelling study that's going on where I'm looking at third grade spelling and some of the underpinnings that relate spelling and phonology and reading together. And I'm looking at kind of the early input regarding whether you're an English language learner and then you come to the English learning task having listened to Spanish in your first years of life. So I've got English language learners, I've got typically progressing children who are monolingual speakers, and I've got children who are struggling readers who are monolingual speakers, and then third graders that are hard of hearing up at the School for the Deaf up in Santa Fe. These are all third grade children, so I'm looking at their reading fluency, their ability to spell in a written narrative, and then their ability to spell on a Fry word list. What I'm finding is that, interestingly, the English language learners and the struggling readers tend to make a lot of phonological type errors. I haven't finished the data collection with the deaf children up in Santa Fe. I have to do that in the fall. So that's a story yet to be written. The other thing is that I'm working on a $2.3 million grant, yay, from in conjunction with NTID up in Rochester with Mark Marshark. So I get to go up to Rochester back and forth. My students here are doing phonetic transcriptions of freshman speakers. We're looking at McGar sentences and the production, their speech production. And the neat thing about the group up in Rochester is that there's a whole host of backgrounds that these children, they're young adults, that the young adults have. They have come now, from different environments. Some of them are oral, some of them are very much sign language users, some of them don't know any sign. So we have a nice background, and we're going to try to tease out some of the cognitive underpinnings that go into really educational achievement. I still have the dogs. We've added one. I have to show you if I can. This is Stella. This is the most important stuff. This is Stella. This is Rudy, who we've always had. He's 12 now. Rudy's doing well. And then we added a dog. This is Shaggy. This is a dog Trevor rescued that they smuggled in their door. And of course, we have now inherited the dogs.
Last, I want to say something specific to Dr. Tomlin. Bruce, thank you for taking me in 2003. I remember that at the time, I wasn't even specialized in child language. And thank you for being willing to take the risk and take me into your lab so that I can start to work on child language. And I'm very grateful that you can put up with me, even though I worked in a very different style from you. And thank you for your patience and your guidance to me. And I hope that I did not let you down in the past years. Thank you again, and I hope that you will enjoy your life after your retirement. Bye bye. Thank you for this opportunity.
Hello everyone, I'm Julie Xu. I'd like to thank Linda Spencer and Malia O'Brien for organizing this video taping so that although I couldn't attend the seminar in person today, I could still have this opportunity to be part of this very special event. When Linda contacted me about making this video, she told me that the theme would be to talk about how Bruce has influenced our work. I guess I can probably spend the whole morning talking to you about how much I've learned from him and how much of those have weaved into my current research work and shaped the way I think about developmental language disorders. But I know I wouldn't have all the time because this is supposed to be a short video. So if I'm going to name one thing, one particular thing that Bruce has influenced my research the most, I think that has to be his always very encouraging and positive attitude in research. I was a doctoral student in Iowa from 2004 to 2009, and as a doctoral student in Bruce's lab, we had many opportunities to discuss with him about our own research ideas. And I think most of his students would agree with me that Bruce has this ability to create a very comfortable discussion environment, so that although we knew how little we know as compared to how much he knows, we were never too worried about sharing our own thinkings and ideas with him. He always encouraged us to think differently and express different opinions, even though those opinions were different from the major theories in the field. And I think it was not until I left Iowa for my postdoc and had the opportunity to interact with many other students from different labs from all over the world, I realized how important that is for research and how lucky I was to have that training and then to do research in that way. I know Bruce is in the audience today, and I'd like to take this opportunity to say something to him for his retirement. Hello, Bruce. I apologize for missing your big day. Last summer when I received an email from Malia about today's celebration, I was very excited about the idea of going back to Iowa. But then, not very long after that, we found out that I might not be as movable as I thought I will be this time of the year, because we are expecting a baby girl who will be due in another 3 to 4 weeks. But I promise I will send you a photo. When we met in Taiwan last year, I asked you about your plan for after retirement. And it sounds to me that you will still be active in research and will probably show up quite a lot in your office working. I hope that you will get to take some time off and get to do things that you have always wanted to do but never got time to do, and enjoy your life after retirement. Congratulations and happy retirement. Bye.
So, Bruce, the way you've affected me is practically in every dimension possible. One of the things I really remember is the first study I ever did and thought about was looking at sound endings that deaf kids were making and kids that were making with CIs, and I really felt that kids with CIs were making more and more sound endings, morpheme endings than the kids that I had worked with. And when I brought that idea to you, you told me, you know, if you are seeing this and you think that's true, you really need to pursue and look at that, because it's those clinical hunches that are probably some of the strongest ways to look for some of the deep underpinnings that we see. And I realize now that clinical hunches are probably based on statistical learning, and there are ways to translate that into a study and to get an idea of the underpinnings of what's going on. Another way you influenced me is, I think, the integrity of your research, the wonderful way you work with the people you work with. You encourage everybody to participate and to contribute and to think and to feel like they do have a contributing part. I think that's a wonderful way to run a lab, and I strive to do that today. And then also you encouraged me to take a statistical modeling class, even though I break out in hives every time I think about statistics. And when we got our first review back for the grant that I did with Marshark, I said, you know what, they want some statistical modeling in here, and I actually ran the model, and that model was in the grant, and we got funded. So even though I continue to have a real statistics phobia, I think that was pretty cool that we stuck through that, and it got us somewhere. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for always being able to listen and to encourage and to help me learn how to think. Thank you so very much.
Okay. Well, dear Dr. Tomlin, it's been a pleasure, really pleasure to know you, and I'm so grateful for you being my mentor on my doctoral study. It's been an inspiration for me for later work, and just lately I was recommending the Iowa Center for one of my students that was on a Fulbright stipend, and she's coming to your department actually to study with you. So I hope we can keep in touch with you and the department, and I wish you back to Norway just to be to present your papers, or to join us in writing, or just be a part of our further study. So thanks a lot for your inspiration, and thanks so much for coming to Norway to be at the dissertation.
과 연결될 방법은 많습니다.
Det er mange måter å komme i kontakt på, eller skape kontakt mellom mennesker.
వంట విషయము పల వగైం సంగి మెన్కాన పురింజడువాయి తల పురింజల్లరియ విధం థవి আমি আবি তেঙ্গা সিকাডি দেওয়াই.
There's more than one way to make a connection.
There is more than one way to make a connection. The Chinese translation is 连接的方法不只有一种. The Chinese translation is 连接的方法不只有一种. And the Taiwanese translation is 连接的方法不止一种. The Taiwanese translation is 连接的方法不止一种.